Hey guys, I wanted to share a conversation with you that I had a couple weeks ago with a woman named Andrea Sprueil. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Andrea, I'm so sorry if I got that wrong. She's the creator of Indulge Alternative Wellness, and she's also a tarot coach. She's a newer entrepreneur, and the reason I had this conversation with her is because I know many of you who follow me are pretty much in the same position that she's at, stepping out in your business, exploring different sort of healing modalities, different forms of spirituality, getting in touch more with your roots, getting in touch more with what's authentic in terms of your own beliefs and your own spirituality. I really think that she represents what a lot of us are going through, either have gone through or are going through or will shortly be going through. It's a huge time of shifting right now. And so I hope this conversation really resonates with you, with where you're at. I hope this conversation really acts as a huge permission for you to allow yourself to be where you're at. I really think that humanity is craving, is urging for witness, true witness. And we can't actually witness and therefore get the data and therefore truly understand what we need unless we're willing to feel and unless we're willing to not judge. Witness and judgment are two different vibrations. I'm curious to know how many of you are where Andrea's at right now with your business, with your life, with your spirituality. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I know that when we shift, it can be really triggering for other people. So just keep in mind, this conversation is around that whole transition when we're shifting from one thing and stepping into another, and how uncomfortable that can be, not only for us, but for others around us as well. So I hope that this conversation is encouraging, and without further ado, here it is. Okay, it's recording. Last
Okay.
time I did a whole interview. No, it wasn't even an interview. It was a Skype call for a class, or a Zoom call for a class. And it didn't record. Like, we recorded the whole thing. It said it was recording, and then it just disappeared. And I'm like, what the heck? We're going to re-record it. But it was just weird. I've never had that happen before. So hopefully this will all work.
Okay. Yes, I hope.
Just prepare for anything, because you never know with tech. But what I was going to say is this. When I sat down and I saw this, I was like, this is what your energy feels like to me. Because I don't even remember. I think maybe I saw that you followed me on Instagram, and your picture just drew me in. And I looked at your page and I'm like, oh, I'll follow her back. And then you'll come up on my feed, and it's always just this. Like, it's just a burst of magic. And I love the vibe that you've been cultivating. And I think I told you, but the first post that really like hit me was during the election, when all that stuff was going on. And every post just felt full of like intensity. Every single post, everything in my feed. And I feel like I'm pretty good at curating my feed. So I don't see a lot of, like, stuff that just takes me out of my zone. But like,
Yeah.
I think everyone was feeling it. Like, there was just that vibe in the air of like this, like, I don't know. I even got spun into it several times. And then one
Yeah.
day, one of your pictures popped up. I think it was election day. It was, or the election day, or the election, or before the election day. But you were like leaning back and smoking and blowing like smoke out. And it was just this ease of like, I'm not playing this game. Like, this is not my game. And I'm undisturbed
Yeah.
by this.
Yeah. That post was actually, I had I'm gonna do a plug of for somebody else. Actually, Earth Mama Medicine. I follow her on social media,
Uh-huh.
and it was actually her smoking the cig, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, she had her
Sorry, I
man next
couldn't
to
remember.
her,
I just
and
knew the vibe.
yeah, and he had like a long post, and I just took a little bit of what I read in that post and just kind of made it my own, because you know how something resonates with you so much, what somebody else says, that it's just like, it's like, damn, that's my own. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
during that time, it really, that really inspired me. It just caught my eye as well. So that's why I had reposted it.
Oh, it was
Yes.
so in my brain, I just associated it with you. So I see you in the picture in my mind.
Uh,
But yeah, like, I just remember being drawn in and being like, and then you just kept, every time you post something, it's this burst of magic. So I've kind of been into your vibe ever since then. And I was happy that you said yes to just chat with me, because I know you are beginning it sounds like, or it feels like on Instagram, this is a new venture for you, like stepping out into your like entrepreneurial world, but using your magic, like grounding it in your own vibe, your own magic, your own art. And so I just wanted to like have a conversation with you about that. And I'd love to hear kind of what your story is, like how you got started, why you kind of found this zone and started tapping into it. And I don't know, I just want to hear like what your experience has been.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that I'm just shocked and surprised that I guess you don't realize the effects or whatever effect that you have on other people. Like you're just in your own space and doing you, and and that's what I want to do. I want to be able to inspire and motivate others too. To change the old way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? And this whole 2020 situation, that kind of I got closer within my spirituality, because my story is I struggled with religion, and I was resonating or coming to or connecting to spirituality, and I had questions. I always had questions of a child, of just certain rules and stuff that we had within the church. In the Black community, religion is very, very the core essence of what you grow up in. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's all you know. But when you start to question it, family members or close friends, they there is judgment, because it's like, okay, well, this is how we've been I guess taught, or I don't know, you want to call it brainwashed or whatever it is, but just this is the ideology that we've been taught from generation to generation. And you're going outside of what we've been taught. So this is, it's almost like, you get attacked, and I have a Facebook page, and my Facebook page is very personal. I do put content on there on spirituality as well, but I also have, I'm just more open on my Facebook page, and I have my family and my kids on there as well. And I had posted about some months ago, like 5 months ago, about getting into tarot. And actually, if you check out my YouTube channel, the IEW Tarot Coach, that's my first video that I made, where I was attacked on Facebook from a friend of mine's, actually a neighbor of mine's, because I wanted to go into spirituality. And I was talking about tarot, and she called me like a witch and was telling me just this horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Like I felt attacked, and I was like, oh my gosh. But then I had other people that were speaking up for me. And that was the place, I think that's where I made my decision in that moment, because I was just like, okay, if I'm really going to go in this direction, I need to prepare myself for what's to come, the backlash I'm going to get, people in my family who grew up Christian and everything like that. This is what me taking out a leap of faith and just really going back into that inner child, because I was into astrology as a kid, and yes, witches, magic. It just something, as growing up as a kid, it's so crazy you said magic. It's so funny that you said magic with the card. That's the card that came to you, because I've been so kind of obsessed with just magic in itself, just power, just, growing up, just the things that, my mom or other people in my family tell me, you shouldn't watch that. That's dark magic. That's the devil. Just astrology, just everything. I just feel like I was tapping more into myself for the very first time. So that's pretty much my backstory as far as that. I mean, it was more of just breaking out of that religion, that religious mindset, and going deep within, because 2020 really, like, it just made you just have more time with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So how's it been, like, as you've been cultivating on Instagram anyway, like more of that type of vibe? What's your experience been with it? And just because what I feel when I tune into your energy, like when I on Instagram specifically, it just again, this captures it. I feel like you are like emerging, and there's something really powerful about that emergence, and I can feel the momentum you're going to pick up. And it makes sense to me that you would immediately have a backlash, because you're starting to like dissolve shadow contracts with a belief system that doesn't actually like what's the word I want to look for? It's not like the true authentic expression of your soul. So when you step into that like true authentic expression, that's power. That is the power. It's a resonance that just can't be argued with. And quite literally, things that have been in your field manipulating or influencing decisions you make start dissolving. Like that inner authority starts really taking up space. And that's what I feel. So I can tell it doesn't surprise me. And I had that too, because I come from a Christian background. So I had that, not that extreme, because I didn't even really get into tarot until later. And I just do it because I think symbols and universal language is huge part of deprogramming. And it's also the way to like get your art back and your authority back. I don't give it the meaning that other people give it. And I don't really use it in the way that maybe other people do either. Not that there's a right or wrong way to use it. But what I found about tarot is that it's a universal language and it's an art form. And as I've like watched people do it I've watched a lot of like pick a card readings. I'm like, wow, this is an art. And it's an opportunity for someone that's like amazing how images just spark associations that just can undo programming. It can just be like this whole message that can undo something in a split second, you know? And I feel like some of your kind of conviction, I don't know why I'm like I'm blabbing right now, but there's something about the way that I think that you have an ability to access like something so deep in that part of the story, like that fault line, because you're anchored in it, but yet step into truth. There's momentum going there. So I'm curious about like what it has felt like for you as you've been stepping into your power. I'm kind of like shaking in my solar plexus, honestly, right now.
Wow. Yes, there is so God, it's like you're tapped in. For real. Like there is like a surge within me, you know, and it's almost like when your spirit has been suppressed, you know, or as a child you grew up in these environments that suppress the true you. And I think most adults in some way in their childhood, you know, all of us have experienced some type of childhood trauma. And how the real you is suppressed, that spirit, that soul. And so, you know, some people go their whole entire lives suppressing that and not even tapping into who they truly are. And again, I love the quote, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. This is a spiritual, this whole thing is, it's more spiritual than anything. And people have to realize that we're just in this body, and we have to tap into what has been really the lies and the manipulation and the dogmatic just beliefs and the oppression on so many people, because these gifts, they didn't want these gifts to be revealed. They didn't want people to tap into their true self.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's competition. And I see that now as we're in the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing. Now we're knowing, now people are waking up. Now it's like, okay, I can be something, or I can be this, or I don't have to go this direction. You know what I'm saying? It's just the expansion. And once people just see the expansion of just the world itself, it's going to even, it's going to be very enlightening for so many more people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just to tap within. Yeah. And that's, for me, that's just been, and it's been hard though, at the same time, because when you're going through that awakening, or you're going through that discovery of yourself for the first time, it's like there's a lot of things in the universe and a lot of things in your life that are also going to come in and challenge you too at the same time. And I've been experiencing that. Because, you know, I've also, a little bit more about myself, you know, I've struggled with depression for a very long time. Anxiety, not feeling like I'm good enough, not knowing my purpose, not knowing who I am, and feeling like I have to fit this mold of society, or, okay, I have to do what my family members, my friends, or even my husband, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes even your spouse or your partner, you want their approval. But still, at the end of the day, you have to just be true to self. Yeah. And the tarot spoke to me, because when I really learned about tarot and actually took up a course, and what I realized in tarot is like, it's like a life journey. There's so many symbolisms. There's like religious symbolisms in tarot, within the tarot, within the cards. And it's basically like little transitions in life. It's showing you where you are in your life right now, and those guides. When I say guides, you know, our angels, you know what I'm saying? Those light beings that come in to help guide us, to kind of give us better direction, because sometimes we don't have the best judgment for ourselves, or we just need that discernment to kind of to know where we are. So that's where the tarot right there, it just, I'm probably going off track a little bit, but that's
No,
what
not at all.
really spoke to me.
Yeah.
The tarot
Yeah.
itself, and I just want to help. I just want to. It's just I'm getting to this point where I don't want to just be here and not do anything to inspire or help other people. I don't want to just be. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
So yeah, yeah.
It's interesting because with tarot, for me, when I started, like, I've never taken a course or studied it, like in a
Yeah.
traditional way. I have books that kind of obviously like describe the cards and give all the backgrounds and stuff. But what I realized that it does for me, just symbolically, like you said, the symbolism in it, I'm fascinated, maybe from like a Jungian perspective. I'm fascinated by
Yeah.
when I pull a card, what the image evokes and like what it unlocks in my brain, and then the message that comes, like just the process of the art itself and
Mhm.
what it does. I realize that I read through symbols and through art, and for some reason I get God and source and all of it so much more through visuals than I do through words. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, whereas
Yeah.
before when I was Christian, it was like the Bible. You read the Bible and and I remember just, that was where it was off for me. It was like, there's beautiful stories and there's scriptures I still love and go back to. But I feel like I didn't, I there was something deeply missing. I was fascinated by Jesus and the mysticism there. And I knew he knew something that I felt like
Yeah.
this book's not really talking about what he actually knows. Like, where's that? What is that? And that's what fascinated me. So like Mary Magdalene, Jesus, like that zone pulled me into the
Mhm.
occult side. And then I was like, oh, the mystery schools. Okay, this is what they were studying. Okay, this is what was lost. That's why that's why Jesus specifically resonates with me so much, because he could bring that language to like the human heart, make it human, you know? And I don't
Yeah.
know, like the whole, I guess what I wanted, like when you were talking about your experience with tarot in particular, I was just feeling like even how like a symbol itself can speak differently to everyone. You know what I mean? And how we
Yeah.
all have our
Yeah.
different experiences with things, and there's not one universal way to do it, like to connect with source, you know, or God,
Mhm.
however you want to call it. But yeah, also I'm like, when you talked about mental, like depression and mental health and stuff,
Yeah.
I think that that's huge right now, like absolutely huge. People are, my therapist was just telling me recently that he's like, we're in a mental health crisis right now. I'm having to turn people away, like just with everything going on. All these things are coming to the surface. And like you said, I feel like people are being activated just the way you said, I want to help. I feel like there's something inside of me that is meant to be used. And for some
Yeah.
reason, I've been through an outside program led away from it, and even shamed about it, or told I'm not allowed to access it, you know?
Mhm.
So like, what a cool, do you feel like as you've allowed yourself to permission to explore and step into this space, that it has helped your relationship with your mind or your emotional self?
Yes, because to me, when I think a lot of reasons why, one of the reasons why the mental health is just, just rising, with just so many people who are suicidal, they're having, depression, anxiety, bipolar issues, just so many, it's because we never as a society was able to know self.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I tapped into my spirituality and I start looking for the answers and searching for that, and tapping in within myself, I'm able to even if I have, everybody, you're still going to have, your down moments. You're human still. You're still in this human body, so you're still going to have those emotions, but not letting those emotions control me for long periods of time like they used to. Man, it has been such a big difference, because I know that, okay, I'm not my thoughts. I read things just like the Four Agreements.
Mm-hmm.
The Four Agreements, I've read that. That right there is just so powerful, that book. And it's just the knowledge that you're tapped into now in this era.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the things that you just did not know. And
Yeah.
now that you know it, you're able to look at things in a whole different perspective, and deal with things differently. Like, okay, this person's being cruel to me on the job, or this family is being judgmental to me. It has nothing to do with me. It's something going on within them, because
Mm-hmm.
it's spiritual. All this is spiritual. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
there's certain entities too that try to test you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So realizing that, it's just the knowledge of it, and learning yourself. I think that's what helps with the mental, because we never were able, America, we've never been taught about ourselves, and who we are. And we have to fit this mold that they want us to fit, this American dream that they want us to fit this big box of what that is. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't know who we are. And I think for the first time during 2020, people were able to really figure out, like, well, damn, I don't like this job, or this relationship is not serving me. I don't want this. Or like, it's crazy how, like, the whole world, like, shuts down, and people kind of just, like, sit with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just
Exactly.
magic comes from that.
Yeah, I kept feeling that the whole 2020, because I mean, for me, it didn't affect me the way that it would affected so many people, because I already work for myself. I already work from home.
Yeah.
Because people were going through a lot, I actually had more, for the most part, people coming to me. So I had a totally different experience. However, I emotionally and mentally felt it, because I was working with people who were going through those things, or whoever was
Yes.
coming
Yes.
into my reality. I felt this whole different vibe in, and this deeper, bye baby, this deeper level of like, I could just feel like everything was coming to a head within people's heart. Like everything that didn't work, everything that we have been able to ignore, suppress, it was like you just couldn't anymore, because you don't have all the distractions of the game.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing for the last, since I've been doing this. I dove so deep into my whole world for the last decade, pretty much has been discovering me, knowing myself. And I've
Mm.
honestly been like, and I didn't have kids or a relationship at the time. So I just went fully into
Okay.
me. And so I know that not everyone can do it to the extent that I did, but because of that, I dived all the way in. And I became the most interesting person to me. I truly wanted to be with me over anyone else. I was like, my mind is fascinating. I can't believe I've never even had a chance to tap into all these thoughts and these like downloads and these things, because I was playing the game and trying to be something I wasn't. And as soon as I just gave that all up, I just became the most fascinating person in my reality. And I'm so grateful for it. Like, I think I finally met the point now where I can shift through it, and I'm refascinated by others, and I'm pulled in, like, by people like you, because I'm like, I recognize that journey, and I can witness it in a way that I couldn't witness myself when I was in your space. Not that I was ever been in your space exactly, but in a similar, like, deciding to put it first, regardless of, like, people might thinking I go to hell, and emergency prayer meetings that are called for me around the world. Thankfully people love me enough to do that. I feel great. I can look at it from a totally different perspective now, and I see that when you break out of a hive mind, like, everyone needs to agree in order for it to function. So if people start becoming sovereign, the system crumbles. And that's how you
Yes.
know it's a tower, a faulty tower that's going to fall anyway.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you for even just reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why, and I was telling you this too. The reason why I reached out to your channel, or because I was watching you last year actually. But what caught my attention with your channel was the empaths.
Mhm.
Me, before I really tapped into just my true self, and tapping more into that, and embracing spirituality, and choosing, because it's all a choice of what direction I wanted to go in. Like, you kind of tapped me into the empath part of me, because I think that was like the beginning, or the prelude of me finding myself, because I didn't know how to deal with being so highly sensitive. Like, oh my gosh, it was just so overwhelming, like on my jobs, and even in my marriage, you know what I'm saying? And my friends, and people who I interact with. It's just like, I was just so sensitive, and I just thought I was just, and then usually, when people say people are sensitive, they're considered weak, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or, just old mindsets. And you just like, and it's funny, because sometimes I would tell people about themselves, and they'd be like, how did you know?
Yep.
you just feel things. You just feel people's energy. And then sometimes it's like some people will just come to me about their issues and their problems, and I would take it as my own and then wonder why the hell I'm just like a mess, or my energy is depleted. And your channel kind of helped me, because I was it was so hard for me. I didn't realize what was going on.
Yeah.
So I thank you for having the channel and you know, addressing, you know, how it is to be an empath, and getting other empaths to tap into their true selves as well, and to embrace that entrepreneurship side. You know, if it, you know, pulls them to go in that direction, because it really helped me, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
really didn't know.
Exactly. Well, and I really truly believe that the time is ripe right now for empaths in particular to really thrive, because we're being asked for. Because what's needed right now is witness. And an empath, like literally being an empath, is a form of witnessing humanity. It's why you can read people. It's why you can just tell them about themselves, because you're not just viewing it, you're not just witnessing, you're not looking at it separate, like from the eye of judgment. You're experiencing it with them, taking them as a part of you. So that, again, that's that Christ vibe, and I believe it's a frequency that is the most natural us, because we're all connected, you know?
Yeah.
It's powerful. It's powerful. And I that's why I just want to support empath entrepreneurs in particular, because I'm for me, it was like people just started asking me when I put my channel out, do you work with empaths? Can you, like, it just all happened to me. But what I realized through that is people need it. People are asking for it. People are asking for things that they've never even seen, because the systems have not allowed them to be.
Yes.
So it's like you're stepping in many ways, like people like you and me we're stepping into areas that are unexplored territory in many ways, because it's not quite religion, and it's not quite like the mainstream way of doing things, but there's needed a bridge, because what's happening is major transition on the planet. So major death, major rebirth. Who better to work with those themes than people who have been through trauma, been through hard things, or at least at the least can witness it and take it on and understand it in the being. Because how can you understand something if you haven't experienced it, you know? And people witness.
So true.
Yeah. So there's a power in it. And I love that people like you, I just feel so much excitement. Like I said, every time I see your page and I see you moving forward and just doing your thing, I'm like, and I'm not just saying this to like toot your horn because you're on my channel. Like quite literally, I feel this feeling of like, that's a powerful resonance, you know, it glitched right when I said that, because it's true. Like it's a powerful resonance that you hold. And where you're challenged, you were talking about like the entities that challenge you. When we go through that, and I know you know this, it's like, it's just the principalities of the old program trying to be like, wait, are you sure you don't want to stay in this game? Are you sure you don't want to stay over here? We'll protect you. You have the protection of the pack over here. Over here, you're like a sovereign being. So you have to really like rely on source, unlike you've ever have before. And that's why it's so powerful and magnetic.
It isn't that the irony that you're relying on source more than you ever had, but you come from a religious background?
Yeah, I know. That's always what blew me away. Always. I'm like, I've never felt my trust in God or source, or the God, I like it, whatever word, has profoundly changed since I left the hive. You know, like I just can't, now it feels personal and intimate, and it feels like mine, like my own experience, rather than something that was programmed into me and told to me that I'm parroting, you know?
Yes. And I love, and it reminds me, when you just said all that, reminds me, I don't know if you watched the show Lucifer on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
But oh girl, it is good. You need to check it out. I watched the whole thing. And Lucifer talks about how when people go to hell, they don't even realize that the door was open the entire time. That hell is this.
Yep, it's a mental.
So when people's spirits are the guilt, even just feeling just guilt, and just feeling like I'm not enough, or blaming yourself, just that right there is negative. Is negativity in yourself. You're persecuting yourself.
Yep.
And how we trap ourselves in our own sin. And it also reminds me of like the devil card,
Mm-hmm.
where on the devil card of tarot, you have the noose. There's two people below him, and there's the noose around their neck, but it's very loose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the chains are very loose, meaning that once they get out of this prison that they have created within themselves, they can let themselves free.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how yeah, it's just the whole thing. Just we have the choice. We have
Yep.
the choice.
Yep.
It's
And there's something
yeah.
about when we're stepping into our sovereignty, for me anyway, I've realized that's where the fine tuning of where all my judgment has been comes to the surface, because where I judge myself the most, where I'm powerful or where I'm weak or where I'm in that duality game at all, it's where I can see where I still have anchors of beliefs in lack or in the old systems of right, wrong, good, bad, this, that, which obviously that reality serves a purpose, and we learn a lot through duality. But I realize like the difference between heaven and hell for me is quite literally the difference between judgment and witness, and doing and being, like I do so I can earn my worth, and then I judge it to make sure it's worthy, and then I'm enough if I'm ever enough according to that judgment, or I'm being and I'm experiencing, and I'm giving it meaning, and that's creating my experience, and I can adjust at any moment. And in some moments, like certain things really resonate until I get what I need out of them, and then they sort of dissolve and I move on to something else. Like I don't hold on to any system outside of me the way that I did before, because I know that all of it's just a tool, like tarot, for example.
Yeah, like tarot is a tool. Yes.
I'm curious, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I think there's a slight delay, so if it sounds like I'm talking over you, I was just curious. I know we're actually pretty good right now. We have like 10 minutes. Are you good with the time? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with the time.
Okay. So I'm curious, like with tarot, because you're doing tarot, you do tarot on your YouTube channel, right?
Well, not yet. I will be doing tarot. I'll be recording my tarot session. So what I'll be doing is soon, I'll be doing, it will be based upon like, if you are a water sign, fire sign, earth sign, air sign.
Got it.
And I'll be doing just like a brief, short, just reading on my channel. But as well on my channel, you'll just see videos of me just talking about just spirituality and my experiences as well.
Perfect.
So that'll be posted up sometime in March. I'll be doing that on my Facebook as well, having those videos posted. If anybody was interested, on the zodiac sign, just seeing, if it just resonates, with whatever they're going on in life right now. So, and eventually I will be doing, paid readings. Right now, I'm just doing free readings.
Cool.
Right now. So yes, and then I also have I did a herbal course last year, and I've been trying to figure out like just where I fit into like the herbalism world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more into like the culinary herbalism side just spoke to me more, because it's like I'm trying to cook better for my family with the whole, pandemic and everything, and just trying to keep our immune systems up. Me being asthmatic as well as my kids, it's just very important for me to kind of incorporate that, have the intention to incorporate those meals with them just every day. And then not too long ago, my daughter, her doctor told me that she was like pre-diabetic as well. So I was just like, okay, this is confirmation. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm using the herbs to heal my family, to just provide healthier meals. And on my website, I have ebooks that will be coming out soon of just different recipes that they can, you can cook for your family as well. Because I have a son, he is 5, and my daughter, she's 12. So I really want to cook for just families, so they can figure out ways that it doesn't take long, very simple, and it's healthy. It's a healthier option for them to just take the time out to cook for their kids. Because what the pediatrician had told me, she had told me that, there's been cases of like kids, because of this whole pandemic, gaining 20 to 60 pounds. Wow. Because they've been at home. they've been at home, and what you do when even the adults are dealing with it,
Yeah.
the extra pounds that were gained during the whole thing. So it's just very interesting and very enlightening, and that was just confirmation for me as well. So herbalism as well as tarot, is those two things I'm going to be using interchangeably as I go on this new journey that I'm going on right now. So,
I love it. Well, and I think health, it just goes, to me, health goes obviously right along with being an empath, because empaths usually, most of their issues are in their body because they're feeling so much and often not knowing how to transmute it. But also,
yes.
I feel like herbalism, in relation to like how you're talking about it, with with this burst of magic aspect to it, I feel like something that we've lost is our relationship to food, like growing our own food, putting our own intentions in it. And so even if we can't do that right now, if we're not in the place to do it, there is something so powerful about intention. And it goes along with that whole, like, we can set the resonance, and no matter what food that we have, we can influence the molecular structure of it through prayer. And this is something that quantum physics has discovered is actually true. Like, we can influence the molecular structure of food and water through our thoughts and intention. So there's to me, I have such a passion for culinary stuff. And maybe that's also why I've seen you post some of the herbal books that you've had and stuff, or that you're exploring. And something always lights up in me, because that's an area where, like, food magic, making it like healthy, but also just having fun in the kitchen, like in a magical way, creating poetry in that space. And again, reclaiming sovereignty over our relationship to food, regardless of even where it comes from. Because I find I have triggers all the time around food and products and everything, just because of the systems they've come from and what goes on behind the scenes. And yet some of it's like unavoidable to have in your reality, even when you try to curate most of it out. And I've been thinking lately about the power of magic when it comes to our food, and how I, like, regardless, anything that comes into my presence, especially if it's come from any taint of slavery on it, anyone being screwed over, I want to bless it. Like, we have direct access right there to that code. It's the most intimate access we have to those people. So, like, let's create a direct communication, a resonance of prayer and love to start healing that. Why not even just start there? That, to me, that I've been like, that's a piece of sovereignty for me in the kitchen and with food, just right there, that piece, knowing that, like, I know my prayer can influence it. I know my intention and my relationship towards it. And I noticed for a while, I just felt negative. I almost didn't dare to eat anything for a while, because I went down the path of, like, everything that's happening and the poison that's happening to our food, and just the systems and the factory farming and all of it. It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I keep realizing, like, we have sovereignty. We have sovereignty over our resonance, and we can choose what we imprint things with, instead of letting it imprint us. And that has been, like, massively powerful for me. And so it to me, it goes hand in hand with getting free. When we get more free, we get more free in every aspect, including our relationship to food, which actually starts freeing the world more, because we stop, like, shrinking our resonance in relationship to the food, like letting the fear be a part of our partaking of it.
Yes. And then America is, to me, I feel like the US is the worst when it comes to, oh man, just food itself. And it is hard. It is, because it's like right there in your face, like, a lot, like, you're constantly trying to it's a struggle. Like, you're trying, I want to do better for myself. I want to eat healthy. I want wealth. I want better health. But it's, the system is just so dogmatic in a sense as well. Like, with that, it's just like, the dark and light, the duality of that we were just speaking on earlier. It's balance, that we need balance as a society, as just this country. We need balance. We need to learn how to balance the dark and the light. We need to learn how to balance, what we put in our body. You know what I'm saying? And balance is life itself. I just, everything, and I know it's not going to be a balance all the time consistently, but just finding that middle ground. You know what I'm saying? So it's
playing
just,
in that space.
Huh?
And playing in it, because I think of it like a pendulum that goes like this, and when it comes here, then at this, you can just, this is where it becomes art. you just play with the swing, and it's like it's always going
Yeah.
to move because that's the movement of life, but it doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be destructive and painful. That same energy can become playful and sensual and poetic and all those things. And I think the route to that is sovereignty. You know, it's again back to everything we just talked about, like
Yeah.
the hive mind and the balance that you were just talking about. I feel like the more people that get sovereign, that's what balances everything, because the systems start
Yes.
losing power. They'll still
Yeah.
always be the elite that holds on to the system because they literally were created from the system. They are of the system. They can't be without the system. The system animates them. So those people will always stand as the pillars of that system, and that's fine. But I think the balance happens when we stop giving them so much power. Then it's like the balance can be much more accessible to everyone. And I don't think people realize them claiming their sovereignty is directly connected to like the freedom of the whole planet, you know, from systems that enslave us.
Mm.
I
Wow.
feel so I'm getting so preachy. I don't know why.
Yes.
But
I
yeah,
love it.
I
Yes.
do too. I've loved this conversation, and if you ever want to do another one, I'm totally open, because I think as you get like your groove on your channel and what you're doing and stuff, I feel like you're just going to be this little fine resonance, this fine tune of magic, and I totally want to partake if you're ever wanting to come back on. So
Yes. Yes, I would. I love this conversation. Yes.
I think a lot of people are going to resonate with it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being able to jump on with me. I'm glad it worked out, even though we had some tech issues. And it still says
Yeah.
it's recording. So I think last time it just stopped recording when I told you about that session I had where it just like stopped, but it looks like we're good. So,
Okay.
so all is
Okay.
well.
Good.
And yeah, I'll cut this out of the end. But as a matter of fact, I'm gonna hit stop on the record right now.